Ready when you are.
Vocal warm-ups, old habit from my stage work.
Okay, look, Trevor, this is our last day, okay?
Last day?
Yes, finally. And we've covered a lot of the logistics. Your recruitment by Aldrich Killian, the creation of an amalgam warlord by his think tank. And
whom I brought to life. Carry on.
the one question that most people ask me when I tell them that I know you is that, how could he have not known what was going on?
3 little words. Lovely drugs.
Okay.
That was the break that broke me.
Well, right there. You seem to typify your life as a series of missed opportunities, but yet you don't tend to take responsibility for many of them.
My responsibility is to my muse. I'm an actor, love, not a bloody rocket surgeon.
But possibly your portrayal has angered some people. No, I mean, some whom are very dangerous.
You don't have to tell me, mate. I've seen those bloody internet message boards. Vicious.
I'm not talking about the message boards. I'm talking about the 10 Rings.
Come again?
The terrorist group. Historically associated with the Mandarin. Officially, they're dormant, but evidence suggests that they're becoming more active.
What, the 10 Rings? Are they real?
It's well documented.
That is so cool.
Trevor, you told me that when you got this role that you had researched it thoroughly.
Yeah, but when an actor tells you he's done the research, it means he's switched on his computer, Googled his own name, and had a quick wank.
So, you mean to tell me that you don't know the history of the Mandarin himself? He was a warrior king, inspired generations of men through the Middle Ages, perhaps even further back in time.
Not the Mandarin they'll remember. It's the name. Trevor Slattery. It's the brand. Trev.
You're right. And for that sin, you will soon suffer horribly with a hole in your body for every ring of our faith.
I'm an out-of-work actor, love. You've no idea what I'm capable of. And thanks to the CBS network, I'm pretty good with a handgun.
Oh! Consider this a lesson in what's real and what's not.
Why do people keep pointing guns at my head? Please, I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
Target acquired and imposition extraction unit mobilized. I'm not the one that's going to kill you, Mr. Slattery. I'm here to break you out.
That's nice.
Not really. You see, there's somebody who wants to meet you.
Do I know him?
No. But you took his name, and now he wants it back.
No, sorry. I still don't get it.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my video all about Iron Man, the real Mandarin of the MCU in the Shang Chi movie during Marvel Phase 4 and how they're changing things heading into the next big Avengers movie, Avengers 5. We're doing that huge Avengers Infinity Saga box set giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your best theory about who the real Mandarin is on the video. They have actually cast the actor for the film. I'll talk about him, but we do some backstory about who the real Mandarin is and the way that the Marvel Universe has used him so far and how that's going to change with the Shang-Chi movie. The clip at the beginning of this is All Hail the King, the Marvel one-shot that they released after Iron Man 3 because fans got so upset about what they did with the Mandarin character from the comics. Originally, they didn't plan on doing an actual Mandarin, but they saw how fans reacted to Iron Man 3, so they said, no, wait, there's still a real Mandarin out there, we'll see him someday, but think about how long ago Iron Man 3 was. It's been that long since they found a place to put the actual comic book Mandarin character. The full title of the Shang-Chi movie is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 10 Rings, as in the 10 Rings organization, but also the literal 10 rings, the alien rings that you put on your fingers that the comic book Mandarin wears. They're sort of a smaller version of what you would consider the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stones, just ultra-powerful weapons of mass destruction when wielded by the wrong person. In this clip, Jackson Norris, played by Scoot McNairy, a member of the 10 Rings, infiltrates Seagate Prison to get close to Trevor Slattery, the fake Mandarin, get a full confession about how he faked his role as the Mandarin for Aldrich Killian in AIM, and out himself as a total idiot publicly before the 10 Rings breaks him out of prison to face the real Mandarin's justice for sullying his good evil name to the world and turning him into a joke. Because as they say during the clip, the real Mandarin up to this point right now had fallen into legend. As Jackson Norris says, the real 10 Rings had just been dormant. Most of what you know about the 10 Rings you only learn through the Iron Man films, but the way the Marvel movies explain it is that they're actually a core group started by the original Mandarin. They would go on to create splinter cells all over the world, in primarily the Middle East, with no real communication between each cell. So the leader of this faction of the 10 Rings, who was working with Obadiah Stane to purchase Stark Tech weapons, had no real knowledge or communication with the true Mandarin any more than Aldrich Killian did. But as Jackson says while he's narrating here, the legends of the Mandarin go back thousands of years and say that he became this feared warlord. Right now, if you think about it, the only group of people on the planet that we know about that are capable of living thousands of years are the Eternals, aside from the Asgardians, or aliens that visit from outer space. In the comics, though, the real Mandarin's life is prolonged by the 10 Rings of Power. It's a very Lord of the Rings Gollum situation. His preciouses keep him going for years and years. To that end, at least in the comics, there's only one Mandarin. He doesn't have any descendants that take up the mantle like a normal dynasty. This is where I think the Marvel movies are going to change things. So when Jackson is telling the legends of the Mandarin from ancient Chinese history, I think it's implied that he's just talking about the first Mandarin, the one who found the 10 alien rings of power and used them to style himself the Mandarin, then went on to create the 10 Rings organization and ruled over ancient China from the shadows. And all the various tales of the Mandarin from later years that Jackson talks about are actually speaking about his descendants, each of whom were probably groomed to take the mantle and wield the literal 10 Rings. That's how you explain that the Mandarin wasn't around in any of the other big Avengers movies and didn't get directly involved, as far as we know it. But the way Marvel does things is that it lays seeds buried deep in earlier movies, like the 10 Rings organization showed up during the first Ant-Man movie, trying to be one of the groups buying the Yellow Jacket technology. So that means that the Mandarin wanted his hands on Yellow Jacket technology, but also this person was meant to be a member of Hydra, so that means that the Mandarin's 10 Ring organization has infiltrated Hydra, while Hydra itself had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. And now, because of the events of Iron Man 3, Jackson's implying that's no longer the case, and the current Mandarin is coming back with a vengeance, and one of the first things he's going to do is make sure the world fears and respects his name again after Trevor Slattery just drug it through the mud in Iron Man 3. I know you're asking if Ben Kingsley's character is going to have a cameo during Shang-Chi. The big rumor right now and the early theory on Shang-Chi and how it connects to Avengers Endgame and Iron Man is that based on what Marvel has told us around Comic-Con, Shang-Chi is a hero. He's going to join a future Avengers roster when it eventually forms in Avengers 5. And the movie itself will work a lot like the way they did the Black Panther movie, just in terms of how much crossover you saw with all the other Marvel characters and movies. They referenced a whole lot of characters from Captain America Civil War. The plot of Black Panther picks up right after Captain America Civil War happens, and a couple really big characters return, like Ulysses Klaue and Winter Soldier, but for the most part, it was a huge global threat that they had to stop without a ton of other big A-list Avengers running around in it, and it was a relatively self-contained movie to Wakanda, this secret area that you'd never seen before. Same idea with the 10 Rings and the real Mandarin, Shang-Chi. If he's been living in isolation for years in the shadows, it makes sense that he'd have some super secret territory that no one was allowed to enter, just like Wakanda, in the Pan-Pacific Asian region of the world. They're filming the movie on Australia right now, so that'll give you an idea for what the terrain will look like during the movie. But on a basic level, Shang-Chi explainer, he's supposed to be the best martial artist in the world. His title in the comics is literally Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, so if there was any question about what kind of fighting style they'll use in the movie. And the actor who's playing the Mandarin is also the same person who starred as Ip Man during The Grand Master. That just means they're going to have one badass kung fu fight between Shang-Chi and the Mandarin before the movie's over. But here's the big change that the movie is making to Shang-Chi's backstory from the comics. So in the comics, Shang-Chi's father is Fu Manchu, very notable comic book villain who lies to Shang-Chi about his crimes, trains him to become the world's greatest weapon, then uses him to take down his enemies one at a time, all the while misleading him about what they're really doing, until Shang-Chi figures out his father's terrible and turns against him. So they're not going to do Fu Manchu during the Shang-Chi movie, they're just doing the Mandarin. So if the Mandarin is going to be one of the biggest villains on Earth post-Avengers Endgame, it sounds like they're really going to go for a Star Wars Darth Vader thing where Shang-Chi grows up without knowing who his father really is until one day he discovers he's the real Mandarin and has to turn against him. I really hope they wind up paying that off so that they can bring back the Spider-Man Civil War joke when they meet for the first time in the next Avengers movie and he tells him the Empire Strikes Back reference. The connection to Iron Man in the Avengers movies is mostly through Iron Man 3 and the events of Avengers Endgame. The movie will have to have some contextual flashbacks to events set in the past in order to explain Shang-Chi's origin and the origin of the Mandarin and the origin of the 10 alien rings, but most of the present day of the movie will be set after the events of Avengers Endgame, after everyone has been snapped back by the Hulk, and the Mandarin is probably going to try and use the chaos to try and seize more power. They haven't completely confirmed the other brand new Marvel comic book characters that are going to debut during the movie, or which Avengers characters might cross over, but let me know in the comments, which big Marvel characters do you want to see show up during the Shang-Chi movie, if it's going to be relatively self-contained like Black Panther was? It would be really cool if they had a post-credit scene like the first Iron Man film where real Nick Fury, not Skrull Nick Fury, shows up to recruit Shang-Chi into the next Avengers team before Avengers 5. So comment if there's any big Marvel video you want me to make or big question that you have, but everyone, click here to learn about Loki crossing over with Doctor Strange 2 and Scarlet Witch, and click here for my brand new Rick and Morty Season 4 trailer. Thank you so much for watching, everybody stay awesome, I'll see you guys tonight.